Hello, dear friends. This is Grandma Jeannie from Dollhouse Rescue. I'm in my workshop tonight, and I'm working on my Babyland Nursery. Now, I have not had this house very long. I got it recently on Facebook Marketplace. There was a fairly young lady, I think she was a young lady, and she was wanting to sell this and a few other items from her grandma's collection. And so I lucked into getting this, and I just love it. But it was quite dirty. She said that her grandma would keep it up somewhere and then get it out and let them play with it and then put it back away again. So it has very little damage, very little rust, very few in the way of dents, but it was pretty dirty, and I've been working on cleaning it tonight. I had let this sit on my shelf for a while with nothing done to it. And so tonight I'm cleaning it. But somebody asked me lately if I use microfiber cloths when I clean. And I shared that no, I don't. I like to use paper towels normally. And here's one reason why. This house was really dirty. And so I like to be able to take my little paper towel and roll it around and use different sides of it and then throw it away and not worry about washing it, especially if the house is really dirty. Otherwise, I'd have like 3 or 4 microfiber cloths that I would then have to launder. So I've already gone through 3 of these paper towels and it needs just a little bit more cleaning, but I thought I'd show you what else it might need done in the way of a little bit of rehab. Back here on the back of the floor, of course it's dark in there. There's a little bit of rust and corrosion in that very back corner of that floor on that back wall. So I'm going to touch that up. There's a little bit of discoloration over here on this counter. Just a few little spots. I'm going to touch that up. Not too bad. A few other little spots I may touch up inside. The inside graphics look good. It's still not done being cleaned. I can still see some dirt in there. And I'm in the process of taking the chimney off because I can tell it's really dirty underneath. Normally I wouldn't take the chimney off just to clean, but I can see it's really dirty in there. Plus the chimney is really dirty and the chimney is out of shape. It needs to be bent back into shape. Let's see if we can get that chimney off so I can show you how dirty it is inside there. I've got it. You got to get those tabs straightened out on the inside. I'm reaching up into the ceiling there, the bottom of the roof, getting those tabs straightened out enough to get that off of there. I think one's going to take a little straightening with my knife. Hold on. I got up in there with my steak knife. Now this knife isn't super sharp. It could cut me, but I like it. It's got a nice point on the end without being super sharp. So I just keep it up here in my workshop and use it for things like this. So I got those tabs straightened out somewhat. Let's see if we can get that pulled off of there. What did I tell you? That is all dirt and dust. And the chimney's pretty grubby, and like I said, it's bent out of shape. This little tiny wall here, or part of the chimney, should be on the inside, and this bigger one should be on the outside. So if I can get that put back that way, let's see. Yeah, it should be more like that. It's going to take just a little bit of bending to get that to stay there. So to bend it, you have to kind of bend it a little further than it is, a little tighter than it is, and then try it again and see if we can get that to stay there. There, that's a lot better. It's a lot better. I think we're getting there. That's pretty good. So once it's cleaned, I think it'll be ready to go back on. So I got my clean paper towel, and I always spray my liquid right on the paper towel. Either spray 9 cleaner works or 409 cleaner will work. This is actually awesome cleaner that I got at the Dollar Tree, but it's in my spray 9 bottle. Spray it right on my paper towel. Now, if you've not worked on this type of house before, you might do a test spot first on the very bottom. Make sure that your cleaner isn't going to make your paint tacky or remove any of the paint unnecessarily. So I got it cleaned up. I got that wet, so we're going to clean that filthy, dirty spot off there where that chimney was. You probably won't be able to see this very well, but I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning here on the inside of the roof. I can see there's still some smudges up there. I think I cleaned it once, but I think I missed a few places. I don't know if you can see or not. There's still a spot here on this roof that apparently I've missed. Let's see if I can get it so you can see. Let's see. See right in there how there's no shine. When I look at that in person, I can see right through here. There's still quite a coating of dirt and film. Let's get that. I think that's pretty close to getting clean as it's going to get. There are a couple of spots right here, right there, and right there. Apparently they'd had tape on there, and the reason is this window is loose. Now this has the original windows on it. I do make replacement for those, but since this came with originals, I'm going to leave them in there. They're quite dirty. I tried to wipe them off, and as I did, I was taking the red off, so you can't really wash those very well. So I might try to use like a Q-tip and get those inside panes a little cleaner. But right now I'm concerned about where that adhesive was. And this is how I try to get that off. When that adhesive is kind of dried like that, it's no longer tacky. I like to get it wet with my cleaner, dampen it up, and then scrape it with a something wooden. Like in this case, it's I don't know what that is. But some kind of little wooden skewer or something, and scrape that and see if you can get that off. Now watch to make sure you're not scraping paint off. If you are, you want to stop, but try to at least get that that harder adhesive off of there. So scrape it just a little bit and then wipe it off. This works pretty well when that adhesive is dried out. If it's still tacky, it doesn't work as well, and honestly, I don't know what to tell you to get it off. Maybe try Goo Gone, but again, be very careful because it's easy to remove the paint. I don't know if you can tell, but that first one is looking very, very good. Probably good enough. I'm probably going to leave it. And let's try this one. So it occurred to me that these windows, that red paint is going to be either on the inside or the outside. It's not both. And on this window, that red paint was definitely on the inside. So I just took my rag and I washed the outside of that pretty well. Now the inside, if I want to try to wash that off with Q-tips, I can, but I was able to wash that outside gently and make that look a lot better. Let's see on this one if I can tell where that paint is. This one, that paint, I believe, is on the outside on this side. I can feel it with my thumb. So I'm going to wash gently on the inside and see if we can improve that clarity on that window just a little bit. Of course, they're so fragile. You don't want to push on them hard, but I do want to give them a gentle cleaning and make them look as good as I can. I want to show you a close-up of this floor back here because that is the only area I think that I'm going to paint. So I'll mix up some Dollhouse White, and Dollhouse White has enough brown in it so that it will match what is usually an off-white in these houses. These little areas out here where it's gray, I may put just a little bit of white there, but I probably won't do much painting on this black or even these gray squares. But those white ones, if they're not clean back here, those gray ones might need painted. But I'm going to hit all these little spots to make it look really dirty-ish. And that's all just a little bit of corrosion coming through, but no bad rust. And then the other thing I'm going to do is on the roof, I like to paint these tabs. Sometimes they're painted, if they're bent one way, they'll be white. And I'm going to paint those green. And a few little spots here on the roof, I might put a little bit of green paint. But overall, the house or the nursery is in pretty good shape. So I'm not going to do a lot of painting. If I need a little bit on that counter, a few little spots and there along the edge, I probably put a little white, maybe back there in that corner. I might try to clean that one more time, make sure it's not dirt. And then one side, there's like some little age spots all over the house. Not this side. This has a few little spots of light corrosion or rust. I'll probably touch those up. But the other side's got some overall spots all over it that I'm probably going to leave because there's so much. See, it's like every board. But those are smooth to the touch, so it's not corroded through yet. So I'm not going to worry about those. I'm just going to say, well, it was an older house, an older building, and it's got a little bit of age spots on it. And I'm okay with that. I might fix that scratch, and I might fix that with a red marker. Otherwise, I'm not going to do a lot on this side of it. Let's wash this chimney up while we have it off. That's quite a bit better. Put it back on there. Now I probably won't bend the tabs down. Sometimes I like to take those chimneys off because they take up a little less room on the shelf when you don't have the chimney on them. Or if I wanted to sell it and ship it somewhere, it'd be nice to have the chimney off. So there we go. There. Very good. So I've got 2 bottles of white here that I put on my palette. One is white, and this was an antique white. And the antique white was a little dark for my uses. And of course the white is a little too bright. So I think I'm going to try to mix those about half and half and see how it goes. And then I'll do a little spot test. And if the first coat is not the right shade, I'll adjust it and do a second coat. And I usually call that second coat the color correction coat. Or sometimes it might take 3 coats. So that looks a little better. And then some of these little spots, I like to put a little paint on there and then kind of touch it with my finger. And it just kind of blends that paint in a little bit. And those spots in the back, I'll have to give them a nice complete coat of paint. All right, let's see if I can get this up here a little bit closer and do a few more of those boxes for you right here on camera. And then I'll do probably most of them off of camera. If you get a little paint where it doesn't go, just wipe it off. That's not a bad color match, but I think it should be a little darker. Although remember, this paint dries a little darker than it goes on wet. So don't be too hasty about darkening it up until you let a few of those spots dry. Right off, I think that's a little better match. And sometimes they just need a little bit of paint and then a little bit of kind of blending in. Just a quick update. I have touched up all those little white boxes in that back corner. It's looking really good. Now I mixed up some gray to touch up the gray, and then I think that floor is going to be done. Let's just see if we can do one. Yeah, I think that's going to be really good. Now, as a reminder, when you're mixing your dollhouse colors, when I did that white, I had to put a little bit of brown in there. These colors are a little more muted, maybe due to the age of the houses. So I had to add a touch of brown into that white to make a good match. And the same thing with the gray. That's not a real true gray. It's more of a taupe. So I mixed it up with a touch of brown, a little bit of black with the white, and a touch of brown. And it's looking really good. I'm pretty happy with the floor. Now, I always like to look at it the next day in the daylight. First of all, it's nighttime here. And also, it dries a little darker than it goes on wet. So I'll check it tomorrow. But I think it's looking really good. So now I'm just going to put a little green on these few spots here on the roof and these white tabs. So I have mixed up, I've got a little bit of light green and a little bit of a darker green. And, you know, those shingles are light green and dark green. So I think somewhere it's not real hard to make that look a lot better than it does. So I'm going to hit these little tabs with a coat of that green I've mixed up. And it can be a little darker or lighter than the rest of the shingles. I think it looks pretty good. Let's do this one up here that's white. Just keeps it from standing out so much. And you maybe can't tell, but there's a little spot here where there's a little paint gone. Got that one done. A little dot right there. This tab looks pretty good, but I'll give him another hit. This tab is not poked through, so let's get him poked through so we can see what color it is. See if it needs to be painted or not. All right, I got them done. And again, they may need another coat, but it looks a lot better than it did. I think this house is done. The only thing I might still do is bring some Q-tips up and try to clean the other side of those windows a little bit. Although they look a lot better than they did, the whole little house, it looks really good. The next thing I'm going to do, and I'll do another video, is bring out all my little furniture that goes in here. I have most of the original pieces to this sweet little building and get it set up and let you see it when it's all put together. Thanks so much for joining me. Remember, you always have a friend here in Iowa, and Grandma Jeannie loves you so much.